Everybody, welcome back. Would you look at that? 2 wins in a row. We're off to the races. And here comes pride in the backstretch. Self-doubt coming in. I don't remember the lyrics. You know that? There's a lot of country songs that are like... They have auction or horse race metaphor. If that makes sense. I feel like I'm not making sense right now. Hold on. 91C49FAL. AKA Daniel's ideal Escape from Tarkov wet dream. 9 FALs. Ooh, holy bush! Anyway. This is an incredible start. We've got, I mean, really Lusty Blood is the big one. But, the race is on and here comes right in the backstretch. I'm coming up the 3rd round. Dude, I'm telling you. There's like deep memories of listening to country music radio stations. From what? My brain's broken. It is early here, I'll level with you. You know, there have been nights where I've had some good sleeps. Last night was not one of them. That's okay. Actually, you know, it was like prophetic because I was listening to an audiobook about like the best sleeping strategies for infants and newborns. And didn't really get that good a sleep myself. I gotta say, it's not the kind of, you know, audiobook that really is good for an adult to fall asleep to because I wanted to take notes. Really, I should, you know, go back to listening to what I normally listen to fall asleep, which are, you know, audiobooks about the Second World War, which for some reason, A, I learn a lot, but B, also just knocks me right out. But I'm telling you, I got deep-seated memories of listening to country radio stations as a child. Like, I bet I have over 100 songs locked in my brain that I have not heard probably since the year 1998. Shall I name them all? I'm not gonna name them all. But in my head, I'm like, okay, you got 2 John Michael Montgomerys. You got, with love in the morning, butterfly kisses at night. This is like, look, all the modern YouTube audience, they want you to make, I get that I'm spinning my wheels conversationally here. I was watching a little Netflix, The Great Canadian Baking Show. Great Canadian Baking Challenge? I don't know, it's something like that. They can't call it the Bake Off because of, like, you know, copyright infringement or something like that, but they were like, the theme for this one is build, like, a retro cake. And then they had someone on there, I believe this woman was, like, 22 years old or something, and they were like, what's retro to you? And she said 2006, and my heart stopped. Because that is not... When I think of retro, I think of times, like, honestly, before I was even born. Which is, I guess, maybe not the way you would do it. Maybe it would be the time when you were, like, you know, adolescent years or something like that. Or maybe it's just always, you know, 20 years ago or something, or 15 years ago. But I gotta start making more timely references, you know? I think I'm deliberately... handicapping myself. We can still go in. We can't do anything, but we can go in. On the YouTube side of things, because, you know, back in 2012, you make a reference to Limp Bizkit, that was about 15 years old, you know? I mean, not quite 15, it was like 10 or 12 years old, but, you know, the people that were watching YouTube, you know, your prime demographic were like, I have a awareness of this, I have a memory of this. You reference... Sure, I'll take it. You reference Limp Bizkit in 2020. The people who are still around from that era are like, sick. Another Limp Bizkit reference. And I think to some extent, anybody in that, like, you know, let's say 25 to 35 age range right now, is always going to have a little bit of love for a Limp Bizkit reference, even in their 70s and 80s. Assuming we're not all fighting over the world's limited supply of potable water by then. Hold on. I don't want it. I don't want it. And I don't want it. Well, I don't want it much anyway. But in order to keep, like, the fresh audience coming in, you know, I think I need to make references. You need to make references to things that are 10 years old. But it's hard for me because things that are 10 years old now are still modern to me because I'm 31, nearly 32. You know what I mean? Maybe yes, maybe no, but, like, you know, the song, what is that one? The Flow Rider one, you know? You got the apple bottom jeans, the boots with the fur, like that song, you're gonna laugh, but it's not funny to me. That song is modern to me. Some people watching this are gonna be like, that song came out when I was in 6th grade, and I am now graduating from my undergraduate degree in university. I understand that. I'm looking for a bomb, by the way. I want to do the mob trap room. Without being able to do that, I honestly, I think we're done. I think we're out. We did pick up something. Yeah, we got the fly. Okay, might as well take it, I guess. So I know on a logical level that, like, it's not recent. But I mean, here's the thing. I think that the real answer is somewhere in the middle. I don't think that, you know, people who have been alive for less than, you know, 20 years get to decide what's old and what's not old. I also don't think necessarily, you know, that people that are in, like, their 90s should be like, oh, that wasn't that long ago. That was, you know, you know, back in 1963. You know, that's pretty far. That's a long time ago. I don't have a rule for what is classifiable as a long time ago, but we can maybe work on some together. Okay, this is getting a little spicy. Honestly, you can just call me Jackbox Party Pack 7 because we got a little bit champed up here. Too many champions causing us problems. We really should not have a risk of death, for the record, which is why I did not buy Spirit Hearts on the last floor. Honestly, looking like kind of a fool now for that, but just chill out, dude. If I could just land a shot in here, like, why is your orbital so amazing? It's actually blocked like 10 shots for you. Oh my god. But yeah, we got champed up a little bit. But I'm being 100% sincere. Like, you know, songs like, you know, anything by LMFAO. Oh, that's so insanely valuable here. I'm not going on a 2 streak, dude. That's... Come on, man. It's beneath me. Like, LMFAO, depending on your age, you probably see them as either, you know, like a band that, oh, they were big like 5 years ago. No, they were big like 10 years ago. Or maybe you see them as like, this is pretty good, by the way, but maybe you see them as, you know, like, oh, that's a band like my super older brother likes, you know? Like, if your parents had like a 12-year gap between kids. Yeah, that's for old people. Like, my teachers listen to that music. That's scary to me, dude. Not that time passes, but just culturally how fast things move. Because, like, I really am at the point where, like, I think every person... Well, not every person, it depends. Some people stay current. And honestly, I think there's value in that, and I think there's a, you know, a certain... maybe foolishness in that as well. Even as scary, I knew it was coming too. Even as a teenager, I didn't really stay current, you know? Like, I knew what was going on in music in like 2004. That's because when I took the school bus to school, you know, they played Top 40 on the radio. But when I had the chance to listen to my own stuff, I was like, okay, it's time to listen to the Talking Heads' landmark 1980 album, Remain in Light, you know? Come on! This dang attack fly, dude. But there's like, you know, musically, your contemporary nature dies like multiple times. It dies for the first time when you no longer know, like you hear that an artist has sold like, you know, platinum numbers of albums and you're like, I've never heard of them. Like, there are so many artists out there right now where I just, and it's not a sign of merit. Like, the fact that I don't know who they are doesn't make me smarter or anything. That was just bad, but it's just, you know, like, because I'm not tapped into the public and popular zeitgeist. Like, I know who Jason Derulo is, but I, to the best of my knowledge, have never heard a Jason Derulo song. Although I think he had that one from a few years ago that was like, "Girl, who's gonna go, yeah. Okay, so I think maybe I'm wrong. I do know one Jason Derulo song. You know which one I'm talking about. I did a pretty good rendition. So that's the first time, like, your contemporary music tastes die. The second time is when an artist you don't know that you think of as modern is described as old or retro by the younger generation. Alright, we're kind of getting bodied here. I appreciate getting the squeezy. Oh, yeah, just leave the spirit hearts behind. Okay, it's one of those. It's one of those days. Take a big caffeination break there. Alright, but I can feel like the neurons are starting to spin up. I'm starting to, for the first time in this entire episode, I feel like I'm starting to make a point. It took us long enough, but here we are. Oh, let's go. Like, I'm forever trapped in that, like, I would say, like, 1993 to 2010 era of music. You want to know anything about 93 to 2010? There's a pretty good chance I'm there. As soon as 2011 rolls around, I'm like, it's the lost decade for me. I got nothing. And by nothing, I mean like 4 albums. To Pimp a Butterfly, Good Kid, Mad City. You knew that you had to guess from that. I was a big fan of Kendrick Lamar. I only listen to like one new album every 2 years at this point. And he got 2 of them, you know, in the past 6 years. So, you know, he's doing a good job. I can't even remember if there's any others. Does Neil Cicierega count? They're not original works. I don't know, I'm not a Supreme Court justice. Although, with the way things are going, who knows what the next year will bring? Anyway, hold on, what do we got in here? I'm not afraid. I should have been feared of that situation right there. I don't have anything to offer in my own defense. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Pour votre confort et sécurité, something something, Air Canada, member of Star Alliance. How we doing? I mean, honestly, like, I'm a little tired. It might not come across in the gameplay and the commentary so far. I'm not sure. I think I'm doing a pretty good job of hiding it, but you know, you may disagree, I suppose. But otherwise, like, totally fine. Yesterday we did like a real NLSS, and it was a good time. It was a lot of fun to be back. You know, I've done like some streams since the baby, but most of the streams have been like, hey, we're gonna take like 3 hours and play some stuff. It hasn't been like the NLSS, which is like, hey, let's take 3 hours and play some stuff and call it the NLSS. The name has a lot of value, you know? Like, for example, if you went to a restaurant and they were like, would you like a fried ham and cheese sandwich? You'd be like, you know what? I'd pay $4.50 for that. Are you kidding me, dude? If you went to a restaurant and they said, est-ce que tu voudrais un croque-monsieur? You would be like, I would pay $21 for that. That sounds foreign and delicious. Same difference, you know? I'm willing to work with you here. Oh, I'm willing to work with you here. I am still kind of willing to work with you here, but it's increasingly I'm finding you a suboptimal trading partner. We do have a bone heart now? What's up with that, dude? That came from the trinket? Is this trinket good? Have I learned something and thus justified the existence of this episode? I do kind of want car battery, but let's explore a little first. All right, I wasn't being sarcastic, by the way. I can feel the systems start to come online. Wasn't sharp. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. Was not sharp when I started this episode. I can't believe I was gonna start today with some Spelunky 2. That would have been a disaster. Or maybe it would have channeled some kind of, like, you know, deep energy I've never experienced before. It would have allowed me to actually solve the riddles of outer space in the manner of which I've never found myself able to prior to this point. Like, even, I gotta tell you, even this room's scaring me. Even this room's scaring me, dude. See, I can't dodge the... When did this game start to have every enemy shoot on the diagonal instead of on the cardinal directions? Does nobody else see how absolutely fricked this is? Alright, I got gameplay now. 2 hearts is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. I think I should be embarrassed, quite frankly. Because this has been a bit of a... I mean, really like a good run with a poor performance. I don't know what this brittle finger bone does, but it coincided with the existence of a bone heart, so I'm willing to give it a try here, momentarily. I do want car battery. Oh, you son of a... I can't believe it. Okay, so what we're gonna do instead is buy as many red hearts as possible. Champion belt would be nice, but actually, like, damage-wise, we're in a really good spot. Shouldn't have spent this? Okay, that's what we're gonna call it then. And I wonder if... Oh, I don't know where our second secret room will be, actually, after that. Come on, man. Okay, well, worth it. Again, I do apologize. I am a little embarrassed by our performance here. But it also, you know... It's Isaac. This is not one where it's like... Like, here's the thing. I think there's... I genuinely believe... And I think that everybody is in the same boat. I genuinely believe not all mistakes are created equal. Like, have you been following this news story this week of that New Yorker reporter who J.O.'d live on the Zoom call? Sorry, I was impressed with myself for that one. I told you I'm coming back online. That is a mistake that I would honestly... If you haven't seen the news story, trust me, just Google Zoom plus an item of, you know, male genitalia, you'll find the story. Regardless, that's a mistake where I'm like, that's pretty bad. It's all I've been laughing about this. So anyway, long story short, so this guy was on a Zoom call. He was allegedly, and I say allegedly. He's kind of guilty in the court of public opinion already. I'm not familiar with the exact details of the case. I just choose to laugh at a certain degree of schadenfreude, which I guess is not becoming of me. But anyway, he's on a work call with his colleagues. Maybe he gets caught jerking the gherkin a little bit. Pretty bad. I was laughing because I saw another take of this on Twitter where somebody said, this is wild. We're gonna take damage here. It's worth it for that. I don't know if it's worth it for Guppy's head until maybe we get the ability to fly or something of the ilk. Somebody said, I don't really think it's right that this guy is being lambasted in the court of public opinion for something that pretty much everybody does. And I just can't imagine... For so many different reasons, making that tweet. First off, if the tweet was a joke, that's a hilarious joke, and I admire your bravery, because no one is gonna get it, myself included. So basically, you ever have like an intrusive, funny thought pop into your head, where you're like, only I think this is hilarious, and it's gonna cause people to question my character, but it's satire, and I just gotta do it. Like, sometimes a joke just pops into your head, and you're like, despite all good sense, I just gotta say it. Just me? Okay. Regardless. Help me. Help me! Help me! Okay, now that's good dodging, dude. And this is pod racing. It was not a joke, unfortunately. I just can't imagine... Like, if you're somebody who plays a little bit of pocket pool while you're on Zoom meetings with your coworkers, first off, don't do that. You know, the urge may strike, but it's one of those things where to be like a civilized human being, You just stop doing that, you know, out of, like, A, decorum, B, respect, you know, C, fear and of being caught, and D, the shame that would come along with it, right? So I would really caution you to just not do that in the first place. But I would also say, definitely don't send a tweet insinuating that everybody does this. Because whenever you say everybody does this, there's a subtext, and the subtext is, I don't really know if everybody does it, but I do it, and I want to make sure that's not taken out of context, but you know what I mean. You know, anytime someone says, oh, everybody commits tax fraud a little bit, you know, that's where you're like, I think you should keep that to yourself. Because I think many people probably, you know, exaggerate the size of their home office, or, you know, a meal is said to have been between colleagues when really no work discussion happened. I'm sure that happens, you know, with regularity, but at the same time, I would speak for yourself, because that's all you can really speak for. I was losing it. There's somebody in a public position would be like, come on, man, everybody does it. Don't do that. I was gonna come up with an exception, but I'm not sure there is one. Just don't do it. On Zoom? In the era of the internet, with free, open access to all sorts of, you know, homegrown Simpsons stuff. That's a reference to, I think you should leave. But, you know, really, you're gonna crank it to a Zoom call? I'm not even just being like, come on, you know, be a man of taste. You know, obviously you shouldn't be doing it in the first place, but what are you gonna say in court, Your Honor? In my defense, it was a pretty horned up work meeting. It's just weird, dude. It's just got a very weird energy associated with it that it kind of boggles the mind. Anyway, I forgot what I was talking about, but I feel like we've hit some kind of conversational stride here at the very least. How are things going in Babyland? In Babyland, things are going just fine, honestly. You know how it goes. Little feeding, little poop, little pee, little diaper change, little nap. Way she goes. Nothing much new to report. She's gaining weight, which is a good thing for a baby. That's about it. To be honest with you, what I'm most excited... Oh my god, what's wrong with me, dude? What I'm most excited about is that apparently, and you know, I'm not the expert here, but apparently, after 4 weeks of life, that's around the time where you can feel a little bit more confident bringing your newborn outside, you know? You don't want to take them out before then too much. I mean, for a number of reasons. One of which I think there is, like, some, you know, immune reason. We might as well peep this room, at least. It's an item. How could we not, right? We might as well at least check it. It's 5 bombs. That's not that bad. But yeah, I'm sure there's an immune reason. But then on top of that, you know, you don't even want to bring, like, a 3-week-old child outside. Because you don't know, like... I think one of the most stressful things about having a newborn, or at least, you know, this newborn so far, is that it's really, like, unpredictable. You know, there are 3-hour blocks where, oh, that's awesome. There's 3-hour blocks where she just sleeps, or she's kind of, like, awake, but, you know, kind of pleasantly just sort of, like, examining her surroundings. And then there's 3-hour blocks where she, you know, makes 7 dirty diapers and wants to feed 5 times, you know? So it's not like we're really like, oh, it's a great opportunity for us to get out of the house. But on the other hand, I'm feeling cooped up, which is rare for me, as you've heard me talk about, you know, in this pandemic world. I've been like this, I could do this for the rest of my life. And I could, but I'm feeling a little bit cooped up. I can't even imagine how Kate feels, because it is like, today's October the 20th, which should give you some idea of the fact that we're running a pretty lean backlog right now. It's October 20th. I have left the home briefly to grocery shop. My wife has left the home for one reason since, I would say, the 21st of September. Like a week before the delivery. And that was to go to the hospital to have the baby. So I genuinely don't know that Kate has left the home for essentially 29 days. Now, it's not like we're bored. We got plenty of stuff to do, don't get me wrong, but just to be able to go out and like take a little walk around the neighborhood with the stroller is gonna be sick. Like that's what I'm looking forward to right now. Is like right now when I watch the baby, don't get me wrong, it's nice, It's an experience that's kind of hard to describe because, if you were like trying to sell it, nobody would buy, because the back of the box, like, sales material is like, sit next to a baby and hope it doesn't cry, and if it cries, troubleshoot it. Like, it's just constant troubleshooting. But the only thing I can say is that, when it's your kid, you're like, this is the most fulfilling time I could possibly imagine. That being said, to be able to maybe, like, work in a little bit of a walk associated with it is kind of a nice thing as well. We can start to maybe pair two tasks together. Get a little light cardiovascular exercise and also simultaneously, spend some time with the baby. Now, of course, as soon as we hit 1 month, it will hit that period in Vancouver where it rains for, like, 20 days straight, but it is what it is. I definitely think Ma the Void is worth it there. Take me up. Let's do this. Excuse me, let's do this. But I'm excited either way. It's gonna be fun. You celebrate those little milestones for certain. Help me. Any enemy that shoots diagonally is no friend of mine. Oh my god. We got hit twice on that room. This is an embarrassment. Especially, like, I can't even pretend that this run is bad. Like, this run is actually pretty good. In fact, it's better than pretty good. It's, like, extremely great. Now, we're not going to lose. There was probably a time where a loss... Oh, my Lanta. 2 hits. Okay, you know what? We may... and I'm not just saying this to create some drama. We genuinely may lose. And you can tell... that's the case because I actually went through the trouble of shooting those fires to see if there was a spirit heart in there. I would still say we probably won't lose. But I definitely, this has been amongst the worst I've played in a long time. I had one of those and, don't think this is complaining too much. Again, the lack of sleep... I'll complain about it a little bit, but in the whole scheme of things, as long as it only... I mean, there's like a chronic lack of sleep, yes. But as long as, like, the really bad days are only like, once every couple of days, there's not really that much to worry about. Like, you might think that I would have become a hypocrite about it a lot faster, but really, I'm like, I really, even as I'm going through slight sleep... deprivation, I still have the opinion that, like, having like one night with bad sleep and then the next night you at least get half decent sleep, it's really nothing to complain about, I'm definitely not at that point in my life yet. Oh, I shouldn't have even popped that. Where I'm like, well, as a parent, you should just be thankful for the amount of sleep you actually get, but I have thought it a couple of times. I saw a tweet yesterday. I forget who it was from. I'm not trying to throw shade because, you know, this is a very common thing, but I did see a tweet that was like, I'm going to cancel the stream. I didn't get great sleep last night. And I was like, oh, you didn't get great sleep last night. I see how it is. Let me tell you, want to know something about sleep. But that's, you know, again, I've become... Well, if I had done it, which I would not do, I would have become that thing that I cautioned against, which is like that person who has kids and then is like, you know, the only reason I had kids was so I had a justifiable reason to complain. I would never. Now, that being said, if, you know, it happens to grant me some sympathy or perhaps some stolen valor in one shape or the other, you know, we'll see. I'm only human. Like, is the song Radioactive by Imagine Dragons? Is that an old song? Because, like, I'll be honest with you. If you ask me what an old song is, I probably... What's the oldest... Wait, let me rephrase. This is a great question to finish an episode on. What's the newest, like, most recent old song? It's gonna depend a lot on what you think. Like, when I was in 6th grade, a song that came out when I was in 5th grade was an old song. Now that I'm in my 30s, I'm honestly like, I don't know if there's an old song that is more recent than, like, the dawn of the Second World War. Like, sometimes I'll be watching, like, a Ken Burns documentary, and it'll play, like, you know, Camptown Racists sing this song, Doodah, Doodah, and I'm like, oh, is that Future? Is that Drake? Camptown Racists, 5 miles long, all the Doodah day. It just, like, I'm like, oh, this has got a nice little... Listen to the syncopation. I wish I knew more of the lyrics to Camptown Races. It was... Gonna run all night, gonna run all day. Something, 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 I'm gonna bet on the something. Oh, man. You can tell it left a big impression on me. Well, we'll have to re-examine this at a later date. I don't know, like for me, I honestly think, like, the most recent old song came out in 1989. If you were to ask me, like, what about, like, Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana? To me, that is not an old song. Because I feel like you can kind of draw, it's, like, something like Smells Like Teen Spirit is the common ancestor for a lot of the rock that you hear on radio these days. And I mean no offense to Nirvana when I say that. You know, once you get, like, 2 levels of evolution deep, maybe that's where you start to get into old songs. But I don't know, it bears mentioning. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!